West Coast or the Northeast, you should have to disband your football program. But
You may just want to disband the whole college.
and Ohio State.
You got to keep that to yourself because them's fighting words too.
It is 8:30. Now it's 8:32. And this is Richland County Board of Commissioners. I'm Darrell Banks, Commissioner with fellow Commissioners Tony Vero, Cliff Mears, Stacy Clerk, our crawl, Andrew Keller, Administrator, and Amanda Miller from the wastewater. So good to see you. Good morning.
Morning.
And you want to talk about employment?
Yes. I was here on the 16th and we discussed posting a chief of maintenance position internally. And I've had an application from Carl Briggs to fill that position internally. I would like to request you to appoint him to the position officially effective the 30th.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Miller on this? No. His name is.
Briggs.
Been with you how long?
Years.
And this is for position of
Maintenance.
would start
Effective 12/30 of 21
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
And at what pay?
It's a $2 boost in his base salary.
I wasn't on the letter.
You said it on the 16th,
Right.
but
But it wasn't in the letter.
okay.
There was a thing.
You have the minutes in front of you from the 16th.
Yeah.
Is it in there?
Yeah, but I was just saying it wasn't on this letter. Motion.
We do.
Moved.
Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears,
Yes. Okay.
I added her salary request 2022 in your folders.
And a question I have on your next item up for bid where you're talking about the lump sums. You don't have the percentage of the lump sum in the letter.
They told me not, auditor's office told me not to put it in the letter. I didn't need to put that in the letter.
It's my,
Adjusted, it's a 3%.
okay. Well, I mean, my understanding was we actually needed to make sure it was a percentage of their,
I just needed to say the percent, it was a percentage of it. They told me not.
okay.
I can,
No, that's all right. Motion.
Second.
Banks.
Yes.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes. Okay. Very much. Thank you. Have a happy new year. Executive session at 8:05, but we can probably do some other before we get there.
Yeah, I have a bunch of amendments on the minutes.
Start there.
To start on page 1 where it says Amy Hammark from the Land Bank reminded the commissioners, should be commissioners. The Ohio Department of Development is offering, see, here's the question. The number's wrong one way or the other. There's 2 grants in the total of 500 million. But the amount that they are guaranteeing each county is 1.5 million for remediation and demolition. So my instincts are telling me they're just offering 500 million in grants for demolition and remediation. I believe that number should be 500 million, Stacy, not 5 million.
Okay.
So that would be my first amendment. And then on tape 0.42.27, Good. Amy stated the grant process closes at the end of the January. It's the brownfield grant process that closes at the end of January. Because the demolition closes at the end of February. And then also it says we expect that there are tanks in the ground. Actually, we discussed is there may be tanks in the ground. We don't know that for sure.
That we expect. So we need to say there may be.
I thought,
Okay, that's fine.
because we're not sure, we just can't get to it without them. So those would be my amendments.
With those amendments, is there a motion?
So moved.
Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Barrow,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes. And is there anybody on,
Yeah, Carl and Al are both on.
okay, I failed to announce, sorry, fellas, but Carl Hunnell from Richland Source is with us and Al from the Mansfield News Journal is with us. Okay. Can we approve the month-end appropriations and transfers?
Moved.
Second. Yes.
Commissioner Barrow,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Okay. We have approved the 2021 encumbrances, general fund of $319,912.39.
So moved.
Second.
The grand total is $792,980.
All right.
General fund was just that amount. Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes. Okay, now we have the last of our CARES Act money, COVID reimbursement. And these would go to the building department for a total of $1,566.84 and dog warden for $7,007.87.
You can do a cartwheel for all the money's used and taken care of, or what? Do one?
Not worried about the calf right now. The knee may not.
So moved.
By the way, as Tony has said in the past, we spent it all and gave nothing back so they could spend it in the big city.
Commissioner Banks,
But you didn't quite word it.
You did. If any in the media is writing that down.
Yes.
Commissioner Barrow,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes. Okay. Do we want to get into discussing the general fund budget?
I'll probably wait.
I'd wait too. Okay. Okay, can we set the 2022 mileage reimbursement rate? And that government's is 58 cents.
I'll come down once we get all those electric cars Mayor Pete talks about. So moved.
Commissioner Banks, Commissioner Barrow,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes. We renew the appointment board.
Okay, so conversations with Michelle Geese at New Hope. Amanda Chapman and Tara Myers would like to graciously serve on the board again. So they have done a great job. I'll make that motion.
Second.
How long are their terms?
Now,
4 years.
hold on, let me bring up my spreadsheet.
It's January 1st, I think.
Yeah, hold on. So. Four-year terms, I believe. Wait, let me double check. Give me a second. I had to higher rise code provisions, but I don't. Can't read. I hate the new function of 4 years.
Thank you. Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Barrow,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes. And can we also approve the members, appointed members to the Transit Board? Ed Pickens has agreed to do it again.
Correct. So hold on, I'm updating my so Ed Pickens has agreed to serve on another term. Let me get that. And then we have two first timers and Scott Hyman and Nicole Williams.
How do you spell Hyman, please?
Heimann.
And
Nicole is Nicole. Williams.
that's one thing I forgot.
The gentleman, I get resume I forward to you, gentlemen.
I forget.
Yes, sir. And I did get with him and thank him for his interest. I told him I believe we had identified some candidates.
Okay.
It's in your mind.
Right.
Are they all January 1st?
Can you give me a second, please?
Yeah.
I'm trying to go through the spreadsheet. Okay, so. All right, transit. Nicole, this is a board that is political in nature somewhat. You can have no more than a majority of one in a political party. Ed Pickens would be on his third term. Scott Hyman and Nicole Williams would replace Maura Sigenthaler and Val Ashcraft. They are 3-year terms. No more than 4 can be of the same political party, and the terms are for 3 years. And this would be Ed Pickens' third and final term. So they would begin 1/1 of 2022 and end on 12/31 of 2024. So at this time, I'll make that motion.
And I'll second that.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Barrow,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
Okay, it is 8:45 and we're, I'd like a motion to go into executive session to discuss medical, the jail medical services.
Second.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
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 (9:07) and we are back in session. We have been joined by WMFD, Archie Miller, and we haven't seen him for a month, so welcome back. He says hi, everyone. Okay. After executive session and looking over the correctional healthcare, advanced correctional healthcare proposal and hearing from Rachel and Captain Blanc. Do we have a?
Go ahead, Cliff.
I make a motion that we accept the proposed contract with Advanced Correctional Healthcare, which includes the night nurse. Contract is effective January 1st, 2022 through December 1st, 2023. Include the amount. And the annual amount is $583,804.75, which includes the night nurse.
Does the news media have any questions before the Captain Blanc and Ms. Troyer leave us?
Yeah, how much of an increase is that?
About 18% was that? Hold on, let me do the math.
Captain Blanc's doing the math for you.
Well, the renewal is 3% over last year's cost, but the premium for the night nurse is 18%.
Yes.
I'm sorry, what was that again?
18%.
Did they give you any reason for that? That's seems.
We're getting a night nurse, Al.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to be removing the medical records clerk because we will be going to the EMR, which would be the records, the data, or excuse me, the digital records. So medical records will become digital. And so we'll no longer need the medical records clerk, but we will be adding a night nurse, which Captain Blanc has given us a lot of data on how many incidences they have in the jail at night on third shift.
So if you look at it, Al, we're getting electronic medical records and a night nurse for an 18% increase. Nothing is for free, obviously, but I think we were concerned with the cost. And so as an attempt to work with us, Advanced Correctional said, okay, we would be willing to include a night nurse along with our emergency medical record program, which we believe, according to Captain Blanc, will eventually be mandatory anyway. So this was an opportunity to get ahead of it. And while staffing our jail 24/7 with healthcare.
Where's the company out of?
They moved to Tennessee.
Again, did I get it right? It's a 2-year contract.
No, it's a 1-year contract with 3 1-year renewals.
Okay. I think that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, what was the dollar amount of last year's contract and what will the dollar, and I see the dollar amount now is 583,804. What was the dollar amount for 2021?
479,544.11.
And Captain, Rachel made reference to a lot of data about nighttime incidents. Can you kind of give an overview from your perspective of why a night nurse is necessary based on that data?
Sure. A night shift is necessary. When I pulled all the reports for the last year, we had about 866 medical incident reports, which were initiated by my officers. Of that 866 reports, 44% of them actually happened after hours on the night shift. So that's almost half of my medical incidents happening on the night shift.
And when you say night shift, that's anything after 5 o'clock?
No, anything, it's like a 10 PM to 6 AM.
Okay. Now, up to this point, without a night nurse, what would normally happen if you had an after-hours medical incident? How was it handled?
Yeah, the jail supervisor would make the call, would assess and then make the call. And they do have access to call the doctor if you can get him up.
And now those assessments and decisions about what kind of treatment will be made by, is this an RN or an LPN?
This will be an LPN.
And this is someone that's hired by the company or someone that's hired by the jail itself, or is it just part of the contract?
Hired by the company. But we approve everybody that comes into the jail.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Sheriff and Captain, Ms. Troyer. Thank you all for coming. And,
Second to the motion.
oh, we gotta do that.
Second.
Thanks.
Yes.
Rivera,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
Nice work, Cap.
I don't know.
Just
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it.
We do appreciate it. Thank
Yep.
you.
Thank you, gentlemen, very much. Go Browns. So what's going on with Baker? I'm hearing talk that his days are numbered.
I think they'll pick up his option for another year.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I hope they draft somebody.
One up tree.
I know he threw 4 interceptions last week, so
He always seems to throw it when they're coming back to win the game. The worst.
I'm gonna be Carmen.
Okay.
So which, do you want them all now? Right,
Okay, it
Just
is,
have
you here with the contracts?
I am. I'm sitting in for Carmen. They're a little short staffed. So she's giving me the baton to run with.
Okay.
I'm gonna take this down.
Oh, it is 9:15. And we motion to go into executive.
No.
No?
Charlene later.
Ah,
Is Charlene coming at 9:30?
Yes, or 9:40. Yes, she's coming later.
okay. Well, talk to us about, Teresa, talk to us about the Job and Family Service contract approval.
Okay, so I'm gonna start first with the Youth and Family Council and our pooled funds. So every 6 months, we put out a request for proposal, which we did in November. We received proposals back. We rated them as a committee. And these are the recommendations from the rating committee. We would like to enter into a contract with Ultra Yoga and Massage for yoga for preschool youth and multi-system youth. She's going to do 8 classes a week. North End Community Improvement Collaborative for My Brother's Keeper Youth Mentoring, which will focus on mentoring young African-American males. North End Community Improvement Collaborative, the Juvenile Court Youth Mentoring, which is more focused on higher needs youth that are specifically referred by juvenile court. Community Action for Capable Youth, otherwise known as CASey, for parenting classes, on which Children's Services uses a great deal. We'd like to enter into an agreement with the Richland County Mental Health and Recovery Services Board for Wood Point Apartments for furniture. Once the youth are there for a year, they're able to take their furnishings with them, and then we help replace that. We'd like to enter into agreement with YWCA of Northwest Ohio for mentoring and coaching for childcare providers, the Neon Cog for the Medicaid waiver match, and Richland County Children's Services Board for direct parental placements. And then on the TANF side, we'd like to enter into an agreement with MBIE for transportation for youth employment, and the North End Community Improvement Collaborative, their staffing agency for youth employment. They would be the employer of record.
How does Mary Mcleod Bethune Intervention Center do on the transportation side?
Actually, last summer, they did really well. We were in constant communication with their folks. They did their billing timely. Some of our youth, had some struggles about where they were supposed to be, and things change. It's summer and kids spend the night somewhere and they're not where they're supposed to be. They did a nice job of communicating with us and with the parents. We really were very pleased because they handled quite a few kids. They even took a van of kids all the way to Perrysville to work at Camp New Hop 3 days a week. I'm sorry?
We're pleased with them.
Yes. And they give us a good case rate. So it was a weekly rate, which was far better rate than anyone else could offer. And then the last one is with the Ohio Department of Developmental Disabilities Funds. And it is to give to the Richland County Board of Developmental Disabilities to enhance the local early intervention system. And they're going to purchase technology with those funds.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Barrow,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Teresa. Appreciate it.
I'm going to jump onto the job and family side here.
Please do.
Okay with that. Okay. So, Carmen asked me to cover this. She's back at the office. They Job and Family Services would like to enter into an agreement with TANF funds, and that's temporary assistance for needy families, with Catholic Charities for $15,785 for transportation, and with the Youth and Family Council for the youth employment.
So moved.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Barrow,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Okay,
Thank you.
hang on and see if anybody from the press have any questions.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Teresa.
Thank you. Have good.
Have a good New Year.
Have a good New Year.
Hi, how are you? You? Good. Trying to be fast so you could slip up there.
All right, thanks for running it up.
Okay,
Oh, sure.
Morning.
good morning. How are you?
I have a quick contract before executive session, which I did clear. Stacy.
Charlene Newman has joined us here, and you have a
This is a memorandum of agreement with longstanding with the library. You'll see the director signed. This is for their heirs certification, and it's words on a piece of paper that says what JFS will do and what the library would do to retain the certification for the 211 system. That's it in a nutshell. Our agency provides, is not, again, this is non-financial, but we do provide through other funds $20,000 to support 211. And in addition to that, they have to cooperate with the Job and Family Services as a result of requirements within the plan for the county to be able to run 211 services. You guys sign this every 2 years. The board signs. What can I tell you about it? We exchange information. We do reports with them, those kinds of things. We help Terry whenever she needs it, basically.
Who doesn't love Terry 211?
I know.
He does an excellent job, and I think this is an excellent program.
We started this in the 80s. You had Title 20 funds from the federal government. So your JFS back then ran the information referral line. And then 1995, Joe Palmer came to town, new librarian from Pennsylvania, and gave us a call and said, we can do this better and help. And since 1995, that agreement has maintained its worthiness, so to speak. So I agree with you. They provide an essential services for our community.
Okay, can we get a motion to approve this?
And second.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Barrow,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
And we want to go into executive session. Talk about compensation for JFS. We have a motion to do that.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
Okay, if
agreements Teresa talked about.
Okay, it's 9:45. We are back in regular session. And would one of you like to make a motion concerning the compensation with JFS?
Yes, at this time, per our wage scale, I would like to make a motion to approve a 3.5% lump sum payment to the non-represented workforce at Job and Family Services payable at the next pay period.
I'll second that.
Commissioner Banks, Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Welcome. Thanks for coming out.
Tell Carmen we missed her.
I told her that and said, Daryl's always nicer to me when you're with me. She said,
didn't-
hi.
I didn't get me.
Our meetings started next year, right?
I hope.
Man, it's been a
Be on the, I kind of just
sticky note or you yell at me.
kind of. I
Have a good New Year.
do. Oh, bye, my
Well, we got a few more things to do. And
Couple of, hey, before,
Oh, yes.
before she leaves, couple of questions.
Yo,
How many non-represented workforce members are getting the 3.5% lump sum payment?
13.
Okay, and just curious, what's the reason behind it, or is it to match what the others are getting in a union contract? I
No
don't know
cause.
what was discussed during your executive session, so if you could share some thoughts.
It's actually opposite. If you recall, these individuals were included on our wage scales. As the wage scales came out, Job and Family Services group as a whole was what we would deem redlined. If you follow our competitive compensation system manual, employees that are redline are to receive a lump sum payment as opposed to a increase on the hourly rate or base salary.
And red line means that they've reached beyond what our wage scale would be for that position.
Their particular pay grade. So all 13 people may be in a different pay grade, but they're presently being paid beyond what our pay grades are for that level.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Charlene. Okay, well, let's move down here to the bottom three things. Approve Westinghouse Brownfield. And
So this is our a commitment letter that we would commit up to $1 million to get the Westinghouse project done. We don't believe we'd have to come up with any that full amount, but this just would be a commitment to that. So I'll make a motion at this time.
Second.
Commissioner Banks,
yes,
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
and could we get a motion to approve building maintenance snow removal overtime resolution, which we do every year?
Moved.
Second.
Commissioner Banks, Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
And can we approve maintenance regular quarterly overtime resolution?
So moved.
Banks, Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
Why don't we take a 10-minute recess? We still have some items and other, but we also will be going into, no, we won't go. Pat Dropsy's going to be coming over and talking to us. We will re-adjourn at 10 o'clock. Okay, it is 10 o'clock and the Richland County Board of Commissioners are back in session. Been joined by Pat Dropsy, our County Auditor, and he wants to talk to us about some appropriations.
And the contract with the state also.
Oh, God, I forgot about
That's
that.
that's what you're really here for.
Pat, before we get started though, so we want to get something just house cleaning.
Sure.
We approve lump sums per our wage scales. And I know you and I had talked and said, hey, can we put it on one check? I know your manual says it needs to be on a second check.
Right.
We don't have an issue with it being on one check. I think the manuals are a little outdated and that they were written that way for an optics perspective. So people understood it would be a lump sum and not an increase. But would you prefer we put it on one check?
The big thing with that is that it calculates their taxes more efficiently. If you do it a lump sum, I get the best way to explain it is we'll say on a specific pay period, depending on how you file your W-4, whether you have whether you're single, whether you're married, whether you have one deduction, whether you have two deductions, whether you have 9 deductions. The tax tables, what happens is we read what your W-4 says, and then we go to the tax table for that specific situation. So let's just say you're married with 2 deductions. So we'll go to the tax table that's for married, 2 deductions. Well, the first $360 of your salary, and I'm just guessing what the amount is, would be subtracted from your gross.
Sorry.
Would be
I would slip.
subtracted from your gross
Okay.
before we calculate the federal tax. And then if you have deferred comp, we deduct that from your gross. And then if you were doing health insurance and you did pre-tax, we would deduct that. So there's different deductions we take off the gross, then we calculate the federal tax. So if we do a lump sum check in an off payroll cycle, then a portion of that lump sum check is not going to have the taxes calculated. But if you put it in with a regular payroll check, it'll move you to a different tax category for that one pay period, and your taxes will be calculated to where your refund or payment, depending on what it is at the end of the year, is affected by that. If we do them separately, then the potential has always been that you're going to either get less of a refund or you're going to get more of a payment because of the way the tax tables calculates that lump sum, because it would treat it in a lower category, and that lump sum is going to be part of your adjusted gross at the end of the year. So your category at the end of the year is going to be affected by it. It's kind of hard to explain, but that's the reason why we try to put it in with a pay period. So,
But it still pays as a lump sum, right?
right.
Okay.
Right. No, it's still there as a lump sum, but it does affect your tax tables. It does affect the amount of tax you're going to pay in the whole year, but it calculates it more accurately if it's done with the payroll than if it's done separate. That's the only reason why we prefer to not do separate checks when it
Right,
comes
so
to a lump.
Time I'll make a motion that we change our pay manual to simply say lump sums can be on the same check. Our compensation administration manual to be precise.
I would second that.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
And in regards to that situation, we sent an email yesterday to PRS because we've had some departments, some of your departments that are going to start doing with that lump sum at the beginning of next year. They were telling us, well, we're gonna have to send a letter to PRS to find out if it's PRS, if we'll have to take out PRS on the lump sums. And the reason why the departments are doing that is if you do a conversion, like if you have a policy where someone can convert their accumulated vacation or hours into a payment, which some departments do that, we have to send a letter to PRS. And they do that on a case-by-case basis, even though I think it's stupid that you have to do that because it's still based on payroll. It's still based on a rate of pay. But PRS forces you to in a conversion situation to do that. So everybody that's getting ready to do this so far has made mention to Laura that, well, I'm gonna have to send a letter to PRS before we submit this. So, I need to get this done. And what we decided to do was, let's just send an email on a PRS to her contact and try to get a blanket approval so that every year or whenever once you get into this more to where more departments are participating, the department doesn't have to do it because to me, it's going to end up being like doing a raise. Okay. Because somebody has maxed out in a specific category and they're going to get a lump sum instead of a raise. To me, it's no different. Still based on the rate of pay. So we got a response back from PRS yesterday that says it's a different situation. You do not have to ask for permission from PRS on a case-by-case basis. Treat everybody with lump sums in a wage scale, the same as you would treat a pay raise. So we've gotten that taken care of. So either yesterday or today, so we're going to put out an email to all the departments that have been asking that question and say, you don't need to send anything to PRS. We've already approved it. We got a copy of it. I think I forwarded it to Tony yesterday so that you guys would have a copy for your records. So that's something that if anybody brings that up, they don't have to worry about it anymore. It's already been taken care of. Okay, so as we discussed a couple months ago, with Andy leaving, I tried to find, I've tried 3 different possibilities in helping do the 2021 financial report as far as getting it prepared for the auditors. And that was trying to find somebody to hire to replace Andy, try to convince the state auditor's office from the local government services department to provide us with a body full-time under a contract, or to provide us with some kind of guidance, which would be a contract situation. In the past, local government services still reviewed Andy's work as a QA, and they do that with all departments or with all entities that have the state auditor's office do their audits. That contract was a little bit less than $10,000. They did the QA, and every time Andy would get to a point where he was getting ready to present stuff to the auditors, he would send a copy to the local government services and the state auditor's office. They'd go through it and see if there's anything need to be changed or updated. And then they green light it, and then Andy would give it to the auditors for them to do their auditing work. Well, they were unable to give me a body full time to do what Andy did. So in essence, what's going to happen is I'm going to do what Andy did. Part of the fact that Andy's getting a stipend from my budget for 2022 is the fact that he's going to be available once a week, once we get into the audit, and he's going to give me the guidance and help me out with the stuff I'm going to need to do to get the paperwork prepared for the state auditor's office for the auditing side. Well, because the state auditor's office and the local government side could not provide a body full time, they are going to increase their workload and provide a body to do some things for us. So that's going to increase the contract from just under 10,000 to, I believe it's 28.
It's in front of them. So.
Yeah, you guys have it in front of you. So that's one of the things that I forgot all about that until Stacy just reminded me too. That's one of the reasons why I'm here. The other reason why I'm here is I should have come to you back in May and requested amended appropriations for the real estate assessment fund, because we're starting the 2023 reappraisal, and that started in May. And at the time I submitted the real estate assessment fund budget, the previous July, just a normal budget, without that being taken into consideration. Part of the reason why it slipped through the cracks is because my finance supervisor, she retired, Andy left, and I had some medical procedures during the month of May. So we have started, we did start back in May in accordance with the contract from the tax commissioner's office and Tyler Technologies, which is doing the reappraisal. And I should have come to you in May, asked you for amended appropriations, but in front of you, I have a letter requesting that you do the amended appropriations for the real estate assessment fund so that we can be legal.
Explain what that is. What is the real estate assessment fund?
There is the real estate assessment fund is a fee that we take from that the county auditor's office deducts from all the taxes that are paid, the real estate taxes and the trailer taxes and the public utility taxes that are paid twice a year. And that fee is a statutory fee that we take and we put in the real estate assessment fund for the specific purpose of doing what a lot of people don't realize is that the real estate is a function of state government. But all the records are maintained locally. The activity is done locally, not just with reappraisals or updates, but your daily transactions are maintained locally. The county auditor in every county is appointed at the beginning of each year as an agent for the tax commissioner to perform those functions. And the purpose of the real estate assessment fund is to do all the real estate work, not just when it comes to doing the appraisal or the reappraisal, but the normal day-to-day activity. And so we have people that are not part of the general fund. The general fund doesn't have to pay for anything when it comes to real estate, mainly because it's a state function, not really a county function. It's one of those unfunded state mandates, except in this case, it's actually funded. So the general fund or the county government doesn't pay a penny. It all comes from the statutory fees that are collected during tax payment season.
Items, or one is a trailer tax, one is,
No. These line items that are on here, these are expenditure line items. Now, here's the one anomaly that no one in state government can explain. At one time, the county auditor was paid an additional $3,000 a year to take care of the estate tax function. So we would receive all the paperwork from probate. We would do distributions to the individuals, or how do I explain it? When people would file their probate taxes before the state cut out estate taxes, you filed with probate court, you paid a tax to probate court, then what was left was distributed to the heirs. Okay, most of the time, like 90% of the time, was just individuals. Sometimes it'd be a business, depending on who it was. Well, the county auditor's office is the one that did the distribution. So the county auditor was paid $3,000 a year out of the estate tax fund to perform those functions for the state of Ohio. Then when they cut out the estate tax in the state of Ohio, you still have estate taxes that came in for a couple of years because it was prior to the cutoff date. You're supposed to have estate paperwork through probate court or filed in probate court within 9 months. Of course, you always have late filings and stuff like that. So for a couple of years, we're still collecting estate monies and would go into the estate tax fund, which is where the $3,000 got paid out of. Well, that stopped. I can't even remember the last time we received any estate monies to distribute to heirs, okay? Because there is no tax anymore in the state of Ohio. So the legislature in their wisdom said, well, then just keep that $3,000, but take it out of real estate assessment. So the county auditor still gets the estate tax $3,000, but it's paid out of real estate assessment instead of the general fund, or instead of having it taken away, which probably should be. It's just the way it is. But that's what that is.
Make a motion, Cliff.
make a motion to accept the amended appropriations for the real estate assessment fund.
Second.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
And then we need approval for that state contract too.
Yeah. Contract with state auditor. Motion to approve that.
Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
Thank you for your consideration.
Naughty for the additional appropriation. You waited till after Christmas, or I would have given you coal in your stocking.
Believe me, I already got some.
Gummy bears doesn't fix it.
Now that we're still on the record, do we have any information pertaining to my lunch?
We're not gonna get the 42.5, are we?
No, I don't think so.
Owe you lunch.
It's
Sandwich from Uncle John's will be more than,
not over yet.
but it's not. We still have 3
We
days.
still have
It's not looking good. I'm about to go rob a bank and stash it in just so I don't have to pay a lunch. I do the time just for that.
That's
I
horrible.
can say,
Why is there $300,000 in cash stuffed into the county's safety deposit box? I don't know.
Does the press have any questions for Mr. Dropsy?
Not at this time, but thank you, sir, for including us.
Merry Christmas, Carl.
If it was up to us, we wouldn't include you, but this thing called Ohio law says we have to.
Yeah, just going to another of 6 executive sessions in the last meeting day of the year.
We went into
Congratulations.
like 2.
Merry Christmas to you, Pat. Merry Christmas to everyone not named Tony.
Carl, not only executive sessions, but starting an hour earlier.
Yeah, it's just a, this is the last, no, wait, there's a land bank meeting tomorrow. Thank you for that as
Hey.
well.
The county gets things done. We know this.
Carl, it's Andrew. Are you all sobered up from your trip to Green Bay?
It was a remarkable trip. I will have amazing memories because I have pictures to remember them by.
Did you catch one of Baker's passes while you were there? Because everyone
No,
else
I
on
was-
the Browns did.
I was one of the few Packers or Packer fans who didn't catch a Baker Mayfield pass. I will tell you that early in the game, Packer fans remarked to me, he looks like Jay Cutler. If we're patient, he'll just throw it to us.
Yeah, well, he does.
Yeah, well, there's comments that could be made, but this is a public meeting.
Okay, well, thank you all for that entertainment.
Go Iowa State.
Yes.
State Cyclone.
Thank you guys for everything. And
Thank you for the go.
I'll be here.
Go Irish, New Year's Day, right?
I'll be watching. I'll be here.
Freeman era.
The final pen.
High State.
I'll see you guys next week
Great.
with, let you know how little pay you're gonna get first pay in January.
We're going to discuss also the end of year finances too, Pat.
Do you want me to stay?
No, you don't have to stay.
Sure.
We'll call you if we need you.
It's called a Cyclops. Uncle John's.
Yes, yes.
Gotta buy him.
Okay, let's go in back to other. And we have discussion on the 2022 general fund budget, specifically on EMA and juvenile court.
You had math, Stacy said, on EMA that you were hoarding from us.
Joe gave you salary numbers.
Yeah. Didn't I give that all to you? Well, hang on.
I mean, I can do the math somewhat, but I needed to know what dates Joe had. And I had talked to him, but I wanted to make sure I was going off of what he formally submitted. So when does he expect the new hire to start?
Yeah, I've got it right here if you want it. Okay. Just want to make copies and give everybody a copy. This might be easy.
Okay.
I can make a copy.
That doesn't look right. You make some copies. When do we anticipate?
Hang on. Is there a date on that one?
It says October 21.
Here's the real one. I was just seeing if you were on the ball. Tony caught it.
December 21.
Yeah.
Order.
Guys leave for a week. I wasn't sure he's
I
coming
was
back.
there. I was always there.
I know. There's no doubt in my mind.
So when is Sue anticipating her last day?
End of March.
So she would work through March 31st.
Well, I'm estimating that. What's proposed is stay, I think he would stay in January. I won't, better not say till I have the paper in front of me.
When does he think the new hire will start?
Well, Sue would like to get somebody as soon as possible, so she'll have more time to train them.
Let's,
Progress been made with the hire.
yeah, I think he's identified one strong candidate that I think he'll make an offer on. Let's say that person starts 1/21.
Okay, so Rick Evans. He would be staying until he'd be working.
Year. Well, end of the week.
Well, no, we get. Yeah, that.
No.
Yeah, and Sue would be with us.
So the first thing is Joe had requested, right, a pay increase for Sue Hunt, but she would drop down to part-time. So we would save money on her because she wouldn't get benefits and she's not working full-time, correct?
Correct.
So he had requested that we bump her up because she actually is doing us a big favor and not retiring. Otherwise we'd be in big trouble.
Right.
To $23 an hour.
Correct.
Effective first of the year at 24 hours a week.
Correct.
So I will make that motion at this time.
And I'll second that.
Okay. To 24 hours
A week
a week,
at $23 an hour.
23 per hour. Effective January 1st.
It would be effective, I'm sorry, it would be effective January 6th.
January 6th. Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
New hire would cover that when we find out who we're hiring.
Now, what about her payout, Stacy? Does she still get that this year or is it next year?
No matter what, it would be next year. Both Rick and her, because we're into the 31st. Rick would leave, which ends up in 2022 payroll. And when she leaves,
So what I would need is their payout amount. So Rick has one, is that it for
I think that's his payout up there.
1330.10?
Do you have, if you have their original budget submission, it should have Sue's payout on there. Because she was planning on leaving the 31st, so it would be in there for 2022.
Yeah, I show only $994.
Well,
As to,
Could be.
hold on. That can come out. I'm just getting to their budget. I just want to go back.
That's just the 7.
Right, which,
Actually, for both of them, that's just the 7 days. That's not the payout.
but she's going to keep working, so I've included that.
I know, but I'm saying Rick's payout is
Right.
not on there.
I'm getting there.
So you'd
But for salaries, Stacy, for 2022, allowing the new hire to start, you need to change that to 102. It might be a stitch high, but that's okay. You need to change that actually to 102. 321.82. And the buyouts are already in there, right? Let me look. I'm trying to find their buyouts. I don't see it. Not in term.
Here with me, so.
I mean, that shouldn't impact their budget because, well, I'm looking at your budget.
They were already.
There they are. I show 4, 5. Okay, so they're in there. 4520. Yeah, they're right there.
4,800.
Yep.
48.
Yep. 4831.78. So that changes their salaries to 102,321.82. Because that's the new hire coming in at 24 pays this year at the entry level of the salary, which is 1794. That includes Sue and her hours.
Then you've got Medicare, PERS and working.
That changed.
Changes automatically.
Yeah, okay.
So that 1794 is a new employee, not 1775.
Hold on a second. The new employee's pay range is 17.94. That is pay grade 7 and the min is 1794.
He has 1775 on the sheet, but if you figured it,
I figured it at 1794.
okay.
No, on the sheet, that's what Sue makes. She would have gotten the raise.
Oh.
New employee.
75.
75.
I didn't put that.
No.
No, he did.
Yeah. I figured it in.
They would start at the minimum. Of
Yeah.
figure. Okay.
All right. So with that said, then do we want to do the general fund? Do we got to talk about juvenile?
We want to talk about
In any there, I know there's been lots of discussion, so I just put it on there.
And the discussions there on.
well. The discussion went like this. We reduced their salary by $40,000. And Mr. Bumpus then sent us a change where he said he would reduce the amount of, he would recover be able to, in order to pay those 40,000 extra that we weren't going to approve, he would reduce other items. And he did that, but as I look at the budget, they lost $158,000 in income, and their people are paid pretty well out there. And my opinion, what we should do is to lower their salary budget by $40,000. They tell me they're working hard. I talked to the judge. They're working hard to recover that income they've lost. And I think we should let them work hard to see if they can recover the income loss. If they recover it, then we sit down and discuss how much, if any, of that 40,000 we would put back into salaries. That's the way to handle it.
I thought you gave a perfect explanation. Makes sense. Done, Commissioner Banks. Thank you. I think our budget is what it is. It's $40,000 less in requests and $3.2 million in total salaries. That is a very, very small amount. That's not a cut. It's a cut in the request. It is still an increase.
Right.
So instead of 3.2 million, it's 3.196. So I see no reason to change as well.
I totally agree. I was in some of those early discussions. That's the right thing to do.
Okay.
All right.
That explained.
Good job, Banks. I guess that brings us to the general fund, huh?
It does.
It is with great pleasure that I make a motion. And first off, kudos to Stacy again on an excellent budget. She's a machine. So we need to give her mad props on the air, or the record. But I would make a motion to approve the 2022 general fund budget that reflects, as of now, but we always knock on wood with positive trends, coming out to 21,000.
No,
Nope.
you have to reduce contingency
Uh-oh, what are you reducing contingency
by
to?
that 21,000. So I mean, your total expenses are there, that 39,
381.
435.89,
Okay,
but we'll be balanced. I have to reduce contingency by that 21,000 that we just increased EMA. But the expenses won't change.
I didn't even reduce the contingencies, but
Budget are you in?
I'll let you do it and then I'll just save yours. So
I will save it, but your total expenses are 39,435.89.
Can you say that again? Your voice kind of cut out. 39.
39,381,435.89.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
so I'll make that motion.
I'll be glad to second that.
So we end up with a balanced budget of 39 plus expenses.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
I think the other thing we need to do then is we obviously don't have the end of the year shaken out yet. I know we had discussed this kind of at length as to what to do. So my thoughts are the carryover. I've been looking at some figures this morning. The carryover is at a good spot. So I don't think we add to the carryover 2022. So my thinking we know we will be in the red in capital projects if we continue Chuck's projects out forecasts without adding money to capital projects fund. So I thought of something here, if you give me a second, looking then at our rainy day fund as well.
Stabilization fund.
Right, rainy day budget stabilization. Give me a second to pull that up. So we know in our own general fund oversight policy that we say we want 2 months worth of carryover for operating expenses, correct? So if we look at that's 6, 7. So if we look at 39, 381, 436 times 0.167, we have more than enough carryover. Our carryover meets our general fund policy. So again, I don't think we need to add the carryover. Your thoughts?
More than 2 months.
This is what the 2 months would be. Our carryover is about 7.8.
No, I wouldn't add any more to that.
Okay, so that takes care of carryover. So then check that off.
Tony, did you say the carryover 7.8 million?
I'll give you the exact, hold on a second.
Estimated.
Hold on, estimated, hold on.
Well, it's what, if you're not adding to it, it'd be what we started this.
Yeah, hold on, I'm getting there. Got a lot of spreadsheets up, Carl. Give me a second. Our carryover is 7,809,753.37 according to Pat.
And that's estimated.
Now that's what we think it's going to be pretty much because we're not going to add to it.
Okay.
So my thoughts are whatever we finish the year at, let's kind of carry over those same principles and set the vast majority of it into the capital projects fund because we know we're going to need it. But then let's set aside 2 months or 17% of that into our budget stabilization fund. Instead of making it the carryover, just the budget stabilization fund
And then the rest of it go in.
into capital projects. We don't know, we haven't seen the final figures yet, but we know the vast majority then will go into capital projects and then just a little bit into our budget stabilization, which presently sits at 1,770,904,07. Thoughts?
I like that, and particularly because most of it going into capital projects, and we have actually, I believe they're starting downstairs
That's right.
this week. They say this week, it'll probably be next. But we got a lot of things in Chuck's plans to get done over the next few years, so money aside for that.
I'm with you.
At this time, I'll make a motion that with any excess funds we have in the 2021 budget, that 83% of that go into the capital projects fund, or what we call the Richland Reinvestment Fund. Or excuse me, 83%, that's right. And then the remaining 17% to go into our budget stabilization fund.
Second.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
We do need to approve non-general funds.
You guys will have a chance to look at them. I've looked at them. They're board ran. I know we are truly the budget authority, but they are board ran. They looked all right for 2022. I do think we need to give deference. There wasn't anything that stood out that required us to change. I think the boards have done a good job. They've weathered the storm through a pandemic and ongoing pandemic. This time I'll make a motion to approve the non-general funds.
Second.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vero,
Yes.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
Questions?
Media, do you have any questions?
Yeah, just want to go over it, make sure I've got it right. General fund budget for 2022, 39.3 million. Carryover 7.8. Go ahead.
Yes.
Okay, 1.8 budget stabilization. And plan for excess revenue in 2022, 83% goes to capital projects and 17% goes to budget stabilization.
Correct.
Excess of the 2021 budget.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Now, Stacy, can you send me and Al a copy of the finalized budget just so we can have it? Because I've not gone to all the different meetings when you met with different department heads and set things. I'd just like to be able to highlight some of that.
Yes.
And commissioners, if you'd like to comment on how the budget process went this year as opposed to other years, general thoughts about how things shake out.
I think overall it went pretty well. The requests were closer to what money income that we thought we would have. Each year it seems to be getting a little bigger. We had one or two people that we had to spend a little more time kind of whittling down there in their request, and but everybody worked pretty much together. It's been a little easier, I think, every year since we've been here.
That's not a shot at Marilyn, is it?
No, no, it's not. I'll take no shots at her.
How's that 39 million compared to last year at this time?
If you recall, Al, we moved over the jail back into the it was always in the general fund, but we actually moved it into the budget. So if you look at last year's budget, if I can open it up, there we go. Last year we were at 38,010,712,49.
Okay, and where did revenue projections come out this year? Were you up, down?
We approved, so last year
21.
for 2021, we were at 36,996,778.35. Pat has agreed to come up to 39,360,426.50.
Are you talking actuals or 20? What are you asking now?
Yeah, I guess I was asking actual. Because there was talk about the economy being up and down and
We don't
Mr.
have those yet. We're still waiting. Please get with Pat after he closes out the books at the end of the year.
okay.
One of the questions that came up during this involved the prosecutor's office. How did their final budget shake out compared to what Mr. Bishop asked for?
It came out, his last request, he got $100,000 less than what he asked in his last request.
So in other words, you're saying he asked for an additional 200,000 and he's only getting an additional 100,000.
That is correct.
And you did say you would revisit that depending on how finances were in 22.
And how the wage scales shake out. His office is presently one of the elected offices because he wanted to be at the front of the line in terms of compensation for his staff. So his office is undergoing the wage scales right now, Al.
If you could, even before Stacy emails it to us, can you go over the sheriff's department budget in terms of patrol, jail, how that all shakes out? Because that's always the biggest chunk of the budget.
So the jail cost, the approved appropriations, for the jail is 7,881. That's what I show. We bumped it up.
No, it's 7,816.
I had 7,816,588.75. Sheriff itself is 6,203,806.85. And you have 911, Stacy. And then 911 is
Oops.
usually just roll out of now.
I know.
I know there could be a 911 number, but
It's above the auditor. Used to be EMA, so. No, it's probably not gonna do that though.
just do Control F.
Yeah, but I can't, hold on. Commissioners, Unicort, HR.
There it is. Go up
You.
1283543.09 is 911.
I'm sorry, can you hit that? I got 1, 2, 3, 4.
121 comma 283 comma 543.09.
And how do those numbers compare to this year?
What do you mean?
I mean, what did you spend in 2021 on the jail, the sheriff, and
We don't know.
911?
We still don't know all that yet, Carl. I'm not trying to hide anything from you. We don't have end of year figures.
They just posted payroll yesterday, and I have not had a chance to do any update because they posted it late yesterday afternoon. All the final bills went out. So yeah, we don't.
Now we can tell you what we approved for them, Carl.
know.
Yeah, let's do that then.
When Stacy sends you the budget, you'll see the history in there. So she'll send that to you.
Okay.
Any other questions, gentlemen?
No, I think I'm good.
Well, it's 10:45 and no other. It's still 10:46 and we will stand adjourned
For the year.
for the year, next year.
Good job, Cliff.